Hello, good morning. We are starting. In December of last year, we launched a new platform with new functionalities. Tailored a little bit to your needs, to what you have reported to us, would be useful, especially in the work of service companies. I am aware that just in the work of service companies, there is not much time to sit on our site and play with it and learn about these functionalities somewhere on your own. That's why I today, in these 45 minutes, would like to tell you about cool patents that can make your work easier. It's supposed to be quick, and it's not supposed to be a problem for you. You certainly don't know everything. You will certainly learn something new. At least, that's what I hope, and that's how I prepared myself. What are we going to talk about? The most important thing, using a search engine and narrowing down the results of your search for spare parts to as precise as possible. If you are looking for one particular part of a gasket, or a heating element, we on the site have 80,000 of these assortments. It is impossible to keep track of it. There must be a tool for this, and I will show you this tool. I'll also tell you about the new search engine for technical drawings, which will make it easier for you to find parts, easier to perform services. And I will certainly tell you about the functionality called Shelf, where you can save your favorite parts, or those you need most often, and also manage the work of your service through this shelf. Okay, we are on our home page. I think this view is already familiar to most of you. You work on it every day. The most important places are, of course, the text search engines, where we usually start searching for spare parts. So, what can we search for? Suppose we are looking for some heating element. Suppose a customer has given us a request for a heating element for a Winterhalter GS502, and it is to be a heating element for a boiler. We start with a search for the word heating element, and immediately we have a problem, because we have almost 5,000 products related to the heating element in our offer. Well, it's hard to bounce back from that, not having any specific tool. I want to show you a cool patent, something we added that wasn't on the previous version of the site. That is this whole panel for narrowing searches, or filtering on the left side of the screen. Here we go. Winterhalter GS502, a heating element for a boiler. It has 6 kilowatts, I think, from what I remember. What do we need? First of all, from the very top, we very much want this item to be available offhand, because we need it for tomorrow. We need the service at the customer's site as soon as possible. After that one click, we are already narrowing down our search. We need Winterhalter. Therefore, in the segment Fits for, the brand of a particular manufacturer, I choose Winterhalter. This is the second click. I'm going lower. I could narrow it down by the types of equipment offered by the Winterhalter brand. But I already know the exact model I need, so I just type in GS502. And in fact, from there, I'm already close. After doing 3 clicks, I've already narrowed down the search from 4,800 to just 5 items. I'm already able to grasp it with my eyes. I'm already able to pick something. What I still know about this heating element, which I am looking for, is that I need the 6 kilowatt one. Therefore, in 1, 2, 3, 4 clicks, I narrowed down my search from 4,800 items to just 2. And here, the page gives me 2 items. This is actually the same heating element. I will show you how it differs. I choose exactly this one. As you can see on the main screen of this item, we have the names, we have the part number, which already suggests something to us. We have the price for us, that is, for the service, for the verified service, and for the end customer, such a list price. We have what is usually most important, which is the availability information for this heating element. 6 pieces in stock and 69 in central warehouse, which means that 6 pieces we have at our warehouse in Torun, and we can send them to you right away, so that tomorrow a delivery man will deliver them to you. Another 69 pieces we can arrange and deliver to you at the address you specify within 3 to 5 days. Important note, order within 5 more hours, 53 minutes, and we will ship later today. That is, more or less, this clock counts down to 4 p.m. In practice, like a 4:15, 4:30, if you order an item that is on our shelf, we will pack and ship them, and they will be delivered to you by the carrier the next business day. Okay, moving on, we have confirmation that it fits Winterhalter, and we have two icons that may be slightly enigmatic. I'm already telling you what they are about. Most importantly, this black icon tells us that it is the original. What does that mean? An OIM part, which is exactly what Winterhalter installs in a new dishwasher that comes off the production line. But we also have information next to this green icon that an alternative is available. And this is exactly the heating element I showed a moment ago, and the site offered it to us as just the second number associated with the same search result. That is exactly the same heating element, but simply coming from a different place, from a different distribution. This is an alternative part number if you need to buy this heating element a little cheaper. But, as you can see, it doesn't have to be the original, exactly the same as in the new Winterhalter equipment. You have this possibility, you have this alternative. So, in fact, I haven't even moved the mouse wheel yet. And this information I have about this heating element is very, very much condensed sort of on one screen. On the right side, I can also check the accessories for this heating element in case I need to buy something else for it, from things that are most often needed when replacing or installing the heating element. See, these codes, these parts are exactly here. I also have access to the spare part, so the item that is usually included in the item. In this case, the heating element. So if you order this heating element, the O-ring comes in the set. But if you want to replace only the O-ring for some reason, you have this option to order only this O-ring. We also have access to a 360 photo, which will clarify, for example, the issue of this O-ring. Because if you look at this photo from this exact perspective, you can see the heating element. It's cool, but I can turn it around. And any additional questions I have about it, like whether the O-ring is included in the kit, is already explained to me by this 360 photo. This is a super helpful thing because it also saves you time. Of course, you can always call or write to us from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. From Monday to Friday, I'll be happy to answer you whether this heating element includes an O-ring. But to save time, you can also do it yourself. Very often in the case of switches, you need a photo from the back to see what the contacts are. Very often in the case of a heating element, you need a photo to see how many contacts or mounting points it has, that kind of thing. With 360 photos, you have that possibility. What happens below, you probably already know very well. Because this is a scheme duplicated, in fact, from our old website. It worked well, it was easy to read, and as a result, we didn't change it. So the whole breakdown of the technical parameters for this product. And what's super cool, all the OEM numbers that this heating element has been called by in the history of its distribution in the market. Here exactly, we have consistency. Well, because it was manufactured, distributed by Winterhalter, so we have only one part number, the original Winterhalter one, and we have a list of appliance models to which this heating element fits. Super thing, we found one heating element and one needed part for that appliance, but immediately from here we can go further into the technical documentation and for the same equipment to select more parts. Okay, we've got the Winterhalter example covered. To consolidate the knowledge, let's go with something maybe a little more difficult, but with an equally recognizable brand. This time we need a heating element for Rational, for the oven. We do exactly the same thing. We need something that is available off the shelf, Rational. We know that this is a convection steam oven, and suppose I need this heating element for SCC in the index from E to G, produced between 2004 and September 2011. This, I know about this oven. I have a photo of the nameplate. I don't need to somehow decipher it for myself. It is enough for me to know what the oven is. Again, we have this whole search narrowed down to just 2 items, and here it is no longer exactly the same. These heating elements are different. You can even see from the picture that one of them has 6 coils, the other has 3 coils. I know exactly that I need this heating element with a lower power, 9 kilowatts. I narrow it down to one search only. I can also do it differently. I can choose, for example, the length or width of this heating element, if I know it, because I don't always know the power. But the length and width, if I have the heating element in my hand, I can always measure it. So I choose the narrower one. I go to this screen, and I have exactly the same set of data. And once again, I have the information that this is the original part. Once again, I have the information that if I need it, there is an alternative hiding for me somewhere here on the right. Here, this price difference is not huge, but actually going deeper into the subject, we have even more information. Because to this heating element, I can separately buy a gasket, separately a temperature sensor. And if I have any doubt about its parameters, I can clarify them myself exactly here. I can check the original part number, whether it agrees with Rational's documentation. And I can check in which models this heating element has been installed so far. I think it's cool. It helps me at work. We, in the sales department, in 7 people, handle about 80 inquiries of this type a day. And we use our website almost exclusively. It works great if you need to find something quickly. Of course, despite the fact that we have 80,000 parts on offer and that we've been gathering this knowledge about these parts every day for 20 years, there are sometimes cases where you have to look outside. You have to contact the manufacturer or supplier, because for 20 years no one needed it, but at the customer's place it just broke down today. I will also show you how to deal with such a situation, but let's move on. I'll show you another pattern. Well, because you don't always look for parts for a specific model and for a specific device. Sometimes you just need parts with given numbers, another parameter to make a quick repair. For example, your buddy or some regular customer runs a food truck and has a fryer there. Any kind, some kind of Chinese manufacturer. We don't know the model. We know it's a fryer that you just make fries in, and now the control thermostat doesn't work. Well, the drama. So what do? We are going by the features of this commodity. Once again, we bounce back from the same challenge. That is, we have more than 3,000 various thermostats on offer. Of course, I need something available off the shelf, because that's the kind of commodity I'm interested in. That's why I enter Gastroparts. And now what? I do not know the manufacturer of this fryer, some kind of Chinese. But I know that the thermostat I want to use, let it be EGO, a well-known, well-liked, reliable brand. I know that if I install an EGO thermostat for my regular customer, I won't be back in 3 days for another replacement. Okay, what should it fit for? I know it is supposed to be an electric fryer. I choose an electric fryer from among more than 80 more different appliances in which an off-the-shelf EGO thermostat could theoretically fit. I need it for the fryer. Simple replacement. Let's say it's supposed to be a single-phase thermostat. That's what I know about it, because I saw the old one, the one that got destroyed. And I'm interested in the temperature operating range. And I have more than 20 different suggestions. I'm manually typing in 190, which means I want an operating range that gets to that 190 degrees. And from this already short list, I choose for myself a range between 80 and 190 degrees. I go back upstairs, and I made it, and I have a sleek thermostat at a price for me, at a price for the customer. I can see right away how much money I'm making on it. I see that Gastroparts in Torun, here, just a few meters from me, has 24 pieces on the shelf, and, if needed, even 500 are able to cobble together for me in a few days. I can immediately add up to 4 pieces to my cart so that I can exchange one for a customer, carry 3 with me, and make a purchase right away. An analogy of what we have already gone through. Technical parameters. All the part numbers that this thermostat has been called by various manufacturers and suppliers throughout its history. Why? Well, because I, knowing such a part number, I basically made it, because I can always just type it into a search engine and it still takes me to the same item. Whatever name I call that thermostat, it will show up for me on the website. This is turbo-relevant, because you guys will sometimes use at least the handy documentation, and sometimes the Bertos documentation. And although it is the same equipment, it will be called differently in different documentation. That's why it's turbo-important from our perspective to describe these parts well. And that's why I'm about to show you such a flagship example. Sometimes there are huge litanies here. We look down below, and once again we have listed all the models that we know 100% that this thermostat worked in them. And if I, right now, would like to look up a Bertos electric fryer to see how it is built, the page immediately takes me to a technical drawing search when I click on the selected model, and it presents me with exactly the fryer I clicked on. I can open it, see how it is built, and even see all the other parts, which I can easily obtain from Gastroparts. And if I'm a skillful service technician, I immediately check whether the customer's light hasn't burned out yet, whether the button there definitely goes well and doesn't stay in place, and whether the heating element is by any chance already so covered with grease that if we do not replace it, the customer will come in a moment with another malfunction. It is much easier for me to plan the repair, but also to plan my further earnings on this particular device. Is it simple? For me, it is mega simple. I hope it is for you as well. All right. I think that's it when it comes to finding specific parts through this search engine. I'll show you maybe one more cool thing that we've already covered a bit here. Let's go back to the example of this winter halter, because you guys, of course, can type it in just like I showed at the beginning. So, you can type in the term heating element and go from this panel on the left to narrow down your search. But if you are skillful, you can do it differently. You can type winter halter here. The site will immediately tell you, buddy, narrow down your search results to only things that match winter halter. Great. As you can see this grayed out box, I rigidly put into the search engine now such a condition that this search engine will give me only suggestions related to the fact that they fit winter halter. So I'm going further, and I type in GS502. As you can see, I can hardwire myself in this search engine only things that fit GS502. Isn't that great? Sure, it's great. Now I type in heating element, and now I can add some conditions that I know about this heating element. So that it is a heating element for 6,000 watts. And boom, we made it. Exactly the one we talked about. We're in the exact same place. And in fact, we didn't even use that in-depth search with the panel on the left because we had all our conditions typed down exactly here. And I forgot, we put the thermostat in the shopping cart. When we go to the shopping cart, we have a list of all the items we put into it. We'll even do a little more disco here. I think this item you all know. In fact, every service technician usually carries at least a couple of them somewhere in his pocket or in his suitcase. Because the burner pilot, especially the single flame one with the O2 nozzle, you just have to have it with you, because it's replaced really all the time in every gas appliance, and it usually fits. Well, and here we have what I mentioned a while ago with the thermostat. We have a whole litany of OEM codes that this burner pilot has been called by in the history of its distribution in the market. Because we know that by MBMA, it was called this. By LINOX, it was called this. If we need it for Fagor, well, we can see that Fagor has called the same product range by 3 different codes in its history. And if we go down to Stalgast, we can see that here we are getting into a no-holds-barred ride, because Stalgast called this burner pilot by many different numbers in its history. And now, as we move on to the models, just look how many there are. In how many models we have documented that this burner pilot worked and was originally installed. It's worth having it with you, and it's worth using this panel, because if you suddenly need a little more information regarding a modular's gas stove, for example, on this model, then that's exactly what I showed a moment ago. From such a general point, you can go directly to the documentation, and here you can look around, and here you can check what else is working there near that burner pilot. Here we have a pilot burner. We would need, for example, a thermocouple. We know that this thermocouple is number 34. I'm completely improvising now, and as a result, I don't know if I'm not going to throw myself on a mine, but I already see that this item is included here. I can click on it and find a matching thermocouple to do a replacement of this whole ignition-related component. Okay? All clear, here we go. Technical drawings. I am aware that on our previous website, this technical drawing search engine was far from perfect. It had one fundamental problem. You had to ideally specify the manufacturer and model of the equipment in order for the site to find a specific technical drawing. Now, to our search engine, we have plugged in so-called flexible search. What does this mean? It means that whatever I don't type here, the site will try to forcefully tell me which way to narrow this search. And no matter what I type, it will show me all the search terms related to what I have typed here. So if I'm looking for a technical drawing for Robot Coupe CMP350VV, all I have to do is type robot. And already the site suggests something to me here. Buddy, narrow down that search. Type in something else. See? Click here. I just typed robot and clicked search. Well, and admittedly, we are far from happy, as we have almost 600 different technical drawings, but we are able to bounce back from something. We're already able to go to page 5, for example, and see that we're at cutters and blikers. That's still a long way off, of course, so CMP350VV we wanted, right? All right, I'm typing CMP350VV, and as you can see, I've only typed CMP3, and it's already showing me 3 possibilities that this sentence could end up with for me. I want 350VV. Well, I click, and beautifully, out of these almost 600 technical drawings of various sundry to Robot Coupe devices, I am able to narrow it down to the one that interests me. A great thing. I click on this technical drawing. Here, as you know very well in Robot Coupe devices, there is not much philosophy. They are rather simply constructed and also simple to repair. As a result, the drawing is quite clear, and what I wanted to show you, you've already seen a while ago at that modular's kitchen when I was looking at it. So these red points on the search. Well, to these technical drawings that we have in the database, we hooked up an artificial intelligence that pins down the part number designated on the technical drawing, with the original part number with which the part is described in our offer. It means that if I find an item, and I'm interested in it, for example, let it be 4. So, this whole shaft clutch kit, I would call it, or a drive shaft repair kit. I track it down in a table or in a list, like in this case this one, and if I see that it is slightly red, it means that it is clickable. I can click on it, click Open Link, and I'm on the tab of this product. Immediately I have a hint that there is also an alternative available. Not even an alternative, but simply the original number imported immediately from the same place where the Robot Coupe sources its components for production. This is already clear. This screen you know, so we don't stay here for long. Nevertheless, if this view, even in such a simple device, does not tell you much, and you are not able to, so by this diagram, by this hand-drawn drawing, well, track the parts you are looking for. Then we go down a little bit lower, and here we have a whole list of items, a whole list of parts that are in our offer. And they are related to this technical drawing, to this device, to this model. And here I can type. And we have a knife complete. We have a bell with a knife. And I can just go and scroll down the page and look at the picture, because I needed something weird like this. Oh, this, exactly this white. And I already know it's a clutch. I already know how much it costs, what numbers it has, and what models it has worked in so far. And I don't even need to delve too much into the structure of the construction of this device, because all the information I need I also have here with pictures, right away with prices, and right away with the information that is very often the most important. That is, about the fact that shipping will take place in about 24 hours. And I have one more cool thing to show you. Okay, technical drawings. I don't think there was a Fagor yet today, right? Okay, Fagor LVC12. Cool. An older model of Fagor already. What's cool about Fagor's documentation? As you can see under the LVC12 alone, it pops up as many as 7 versions of this technical drawing for me. But Fagor is kind enough to title the vintage of this model right on the first page. The vintage, in fact, of this technical drawing, matching a specific model vintage. We are interested in, let's say, the one from October 2009, so I choose this one too. Well, and here the matter is equally simple. You can take a look at this whole drawing. You can open it in a new tab. Save it in bookmarks in your browser, because why not? No problem. And you can download it to your desktop and save it. Use it anytime, just like your file on your computer. Go ahead, because why not? You can also put this drawing on your bookshelf if you use it often, and I'll show you that soon, too. Right, analog situation. I have a drawing of the entire dishwasher. In red, I have those things that have already been paired with specific assortments for your convenience. Admittedly, all the others that are not shown in red, they too can be found. It's just that it will require you to simply copy that number and paste it into the search engine. We're working on getting as close to 100% of the parts in the dossiers as possible with a link to specific assortments. We'll probably never get to 100, but when it's 98.5, it will probably already make your life easier. In any case, if you find something, then always go ahead and try to use that specific manufacturer number in our search engine. Especially in the case of such a Fagor, Robot Coupe, Winterhalter, Rational, there should be no problem. These parts should always be cataloged with us in the offer. And they should be largely available off the shelf with next-day shipping. Here, as you can see, there are as many as 244 different assortments under this technical drawing. So you can dig into this for a very, very long time indeed. And depending on whether we need a gasket, or a valve, or a hydrostat, we can look around these searches, and the website immediately throws us all those components that will fit the model. All right, but what if I put 7 dishwashers like that, like a nice Winterhalter PTLs, to my customer? And that was in the first quarter of this year, and I know that I will go to them regularly and repair them periodically. And I must always have somewhere at hand the full documentation of this model with parts. Because if I put 7 units in customers, then sooner or later those 7 pieces will be broken by the customer, no matter how good the equipment is. It's always that the final user will cause some kind of damage. So I want to keep it on hand. I put it on the shelf, I click Insert on the shelf, the page tells me that the technical drawing has been added to the shelf. And wow, what am I supposed to do with it now? Well, look, I'm on the home page. In the upper right corner, you have your account details. Here you have the settings, you have information about your processed returns, you have the history of your inquiries that you make through the inquiry panel. I'll talk about that in a moment too. You have the history of your orders, and information about open orders and about what's happening with them now. And you have all your invoices. And you also have information about recently ordered goods. But you also have a shelf. And what is this shelf? This shelf is your electronic representation of the warehouse shelf in our warehouse, in our headquarters. This means that here you can put those parts that interest you, and those technical drawings that interest you. And if you guys have a lot of Winterhalter PTLs under your care, but you also have a lot of 10-shelf electric rationals SCC, then you also put that on your shelf. And if you also have in your care a lot of Stahlgast gas cookers with electric oven, we have a beautiful example. That's what we're putting on the shelf. Let's add something else. Isomatic. Something for refrigeration. Something old. I'm putting the documentation on my shelf. I now turn to my shelf and to the technical drawings. And if I know that these devices often generate turnover for me, if they often generate traffic and service orders for me, and if I need to have that on hand at all times, Then you don't even have to print it. It's a waste of toner. You don't have to save it on your desktop or in some folder. It's a waste of disk space. You can create a whole knowledge base for yourself directly on our portal. And from this position, you can even swap them with each other if you need something more often and something less often. Well, go ahead. I think it's cool. Moving on, spare parts. I admittedly don't have anything here because from this account I have not yet made any purchases on Gastroparts. But who does this shopping regularly knows very well that this smart group fills up by itself. That is, this segment, this yellow box, fills itself, throwing you here the products that you regularly and periodically order from us. Very often in the busyness of work in the service, you guys are not even aware that you order something regularly, that there appears some kind of repetition, some kind of cyclicality in a particular purchase. And if you make regular purchases and the algorithm on our site senses that a product starts to appear in your orders more and more often and more regularly. Let's say in a month, you ordered something 3 times a week in 3 different orders, then that item automatically appears here. You can, of course, knock it off if it is of no interest to you. But the site will automatically help you get a handle on what you need most often. This is also a great thing when you are short of, let's say, 150 Polish zloty to reach the logistic minimum for the purchase and to have free shipping. You have the current demand. Take advantage of what rotates for you anyway. What is going down for you anyway? Add it to your shopping cart. Nothing is easier than that. All right, but how to use it even better and how to create these groups. I can click here. I have a new group, for example, my favorites. And here to these favorites, to those most often used, I can add some goods that interest me. Let's say, well, this is certainly often being replaced because it is a heating element for BMARs. Many different ones, but by default for remetal. And I can put it here exactly like that. That is, going to the view of a given part, I have a button like that here, right below these icons that we discussed. Insert into the shelf. When I click Insert into the shelf, I'm shown a window to choose which shelf I want to put it on. I have only one for now, my favorites, so I select it and save it. And now, when I go back to that shelf, I already have the My Favorites group here, and I have this heating element here, cool option. Some people find it useful for sure, but you can do better, especially if you have a service where several people work. Especially if you're a service coordinator, boss of service, service buyer, service logistician, or just a boss who has several service technicians employed, who drive around the city and perform service orders at your customers. And you all have access to that one account on our website, as it usually looks like in this type of service. The guys drive around town, and if they need something, they put it in the cart. They are still waiting for confirmation from the customer as to whether the customer is going to make this purchase at all. They are waiting for confirmation from the boss as to whether any orders are being placed at all today, and they're putting one in their shopping cart. And as long as there's one, that's cool, because that one guy needs a hot plate and a switch. But then there's the other guy, who is adding some kind of thermostat to the fryer for his customer. And when there's a third guy who fixes coffee machines, he'll put 2 more two-way filter holders in there. And see also an interesting situation. I have one piece in stock. It's currently out of stock at the central warehouse, and I marked that I want 2. The moment I changed the quantity to 2, my delivery time automatically changed. Of course, still one piece is in stock. Gastroparts can send it to me today, but there is a shortage in the central warehouse, so the shipping time for the whole thing could take up to 2 to 8 weeks. So this is some problematic commodity. Something that is very limited on the market, to the shopping cart, and I'm in that shopping cart. And at the end of the day, I have such a mess here. I don't know what is for whom. I don't know what I should order, and what the customer has already agreed to, and what they haven't agreed to yet. I have a problem, because I don't know what to order. Can I go down and click? Or, excuse me, can I go to the summary and click Fulfill that order? Or not really, because I don't know what is for whom. I'm getting all this stuff out of here. And I show you a cool patent just in this shelf. Because here, having several service technicians, I can set up a service technician, Arthur, his group, Tom, his group, and Michael, his group, and how I have 3 service technicians who perform services around the city or the whole province. So I make a deal with them. Guys, when you go somewhere and you need something, put it in your group, on your shelf. And at this point, if Arthur needs these pilot burners, he puts them on the shelf, and he chooses himself. If the hot plates are needed by the other guy, Tom, it is Tom who puts them here on his shelf. And if, for example, something is needed for the Unox, let's give such an engine. And my last serviceman needs this engine, but he also needs something else for the 1539. For example, a thermostat, a contactor, and a valve like that. He also adds them one by one to his shelf. And what do I get as a result as a boss or service manager? Peace of mind. Because I see that my guys have gone to town, they do service. And Arthur needs pilot burners. Tom needs the plates. And Michael needs a few things to repair the Unox. And I have peace of mind because I control what is for whom and which order will have to go to which service technician. But above all, it's then just a matter of quick communication. Because I take the phone, I call Arthur and ask, Arthur, has the customer confirmed to you the purchase of these pilot burners? He confirmed. That's great. Into the shopping cart. I go back to the shelf. The same situation. On WhatsApp, I contact Michael. Michael, has the customer confirmed to you the repair of this Unox? Should I order the parts for you? And Michael says, listen, man, I need but only this engine and nothing else. That's great. I'm throwing away what is unnecessary out of this group. Or I choose only this engine and I add it to my shopping cart, and I'm already having my shopping list for today. I contact Tom. Tom tells me, well, of course I need those plates. I have it patched. I have the pro forma paid. I add it to my cart. But listen, I need 4 of these plates because they're in the kitchen at the customer's house burned out as many as 4. So I go into the shopping cart, and at this point I change it to 1, 2, 3, 4, and it makes me one whole order. Only on what has been confirmed by the guys. What is more, if I receive a package tomorrow at 8 or 9 o'clock, I go in here and I see that, okay, the pilot burner was for Arthur. For Tom, there was the hot plate. For Michael, there was everything else. The guys head into town. They get their parts already in boxes in their cars. And they can go to perform repairs. And in the meantime, from here, they get the stuff out. However, if someone needed something, even more, if there was any rotation here, then remember that we can also rearrange these items between groups. That is, I can also make a group with all these guys named already ordered for tomorrow. And I can rearrange it all exactly like this. If I have already ordered something, or it has to wait for tomorrow, or for the day after tomorrow, or for the customer's decision, I also make such a group. And like blocks in a kindergarten, I can flip these items around. What I can also do, and what will probably be even better, since already ordered is cool, but those already ordered I have in my order history, so I can keep up with it. But we are waiting for the customer's decision. Will be even better. As we wait for the customer's decision, well, that's great. We put that into a separate group as well, and we can manage that. Another option is that, because I can do it another way. If I want to improve the collaboration with my technicians, with my service technicians, then I do as I showed just now. But if there is a need for support to manage the orders of my customers, final customers, that is, those who work with equipment that breaks down on a daily basis, then I am doing something beautiful. My customer is Restaurant at Helena's. I put myself in the group Restaurant at Helena's. My customer is Hotel 1234. So I put it in here. My customer is a food truck with fries. and I'm planning today. Today I came to work from the morning. 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, the phone rang. Come, help, I have an emergency, something is broken. The first call was Helena from the restaurant at Helena's. I put on a group for Helena. Another thing, I'm setting up a group Hotel 1234 because I'm sending a technician to Hotel 1234. And a colleague who has a food truck with fries just called me that he will need something. He will need a basket for the fryer. And that's where I no longer send a service technician. Simply the guy wants to buy a fryer basket from me. We take one that is available. We agreed on specific dimensions, all things good. I start by getting my shopping list together for today without cluttering the shopping cart. I'm throwing this basket to my buddy who runs a food truck. This contactor is something that one of my service technicians let me know that he had already been to Helena's restaurant. And that's where the contactor needs to be replaced. And this is a contactor for, let's say, a Unix CV393. Sorry, XV393. Nothing easier, because I type XV393. Contactor, I narrow down the search. I have that contactor. Is that it? It is. Great. I put it on the shelf. I add it to the restaurant at Helena's. And what's more, if I'm more computer and more shopping type of guy and less technical, I can call that service technician who was at Helena's and say, listen, take a look at the photo and the description. I just posted such a contactor for you here in the restaurant at Helena's group. Take me a hint. If this is definitely what you need, he opens it. He looks at the picture. Is that it? It is. When he has doubts, he reads the description. If he has even deeper doubts, he checks in which models it fit. You know perfectly well that the service technician, after one glance, should probably know if this is what he has removed from the customer. What needs repair? Let's move on. I need to replace the energy regulator in the hotel. Good. And I need a knob for it. And at this point, in fact, with a few clicks, because I've been talking about it for 4 minutes exactly, I have the shopping list topic taken care of, the order list, and everything perfectly sorted. With the photo and with the description and with the access of my service technicians online to this view, to this ordering that I have done here, I have it all done literally in a few minutes. From my perspective and from the information that we have from you, from your work, this takes care of 70% of the problems. The kind of communication and information problems that can be in the service. All the rest of the problems are probably generated by invoices, orders, lead times, but I hope to tell you about this already on the next edition, where we will talk to each other, maybe already, about a little more complicated and complex things, or at least about other things. And now, 2 things, well, 3 things that I have to tell you at the very end. First of all, I am always happy to host such a webinar for you. I hope you found this one useful and cool. That being said, this is where you will find the contacts actually for all of us, including me. Let me know, whether by phone or email, what else I could do for you and what I could talk about that would be useful to you. Also, let me know if there are things on this new site that need to be improved because they don't work perfectly. And let me know, too, if you come up with any cool ideas about what you think is missing from this website that we could do for you. Because from our perspective, internally at Gastroparts, from the perspective of our IT department, this website is great in the sense that it is very flexible and prone to change. If you guys think of something that would make your job easier, in all likelihood, we will be able to do it for you and add it to this site sooner or later. It will be updated all the time. Also, if new functionalities appear, and they will appear in the near future, you will certainly be very strongly informed about it. The second thing, great that the search engine is working. Great that we have a panel to narrow it all down there on the left. Great that there are so many parts on offer, that they are categorized. Great that I can filter them for myself by device and by specific brands. But sometimes I just don't have time to do that. I don't want to. Or I'm lying under the dishwasher with my phone and I can only make a phone call because I'm not going to sit on my laptop or my phone right now and look through the online store. I need support, I need help, or sometimes a part is missing. Or sometimes I need a 1,000,000% check that the dimension is definitely 36 millimeters. You have a contact tab. Here is the main number for our switchboard. and there is the main email we use. Now, just so the matter is clear, these phone numbers and this email we all handle all day, from Monday to Friday, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we wait for you to call us with an issue. At the moment, we get about 80 questions like that a day. And this is our job, so feel free to call us. If you like someone in particular, if you find that you want to deal with Dominika because she is great, go ahead and call Dominika. If you only want to deal with Natalia and Luke, you have direct contacts to them here. I know it makes the service a lot easier if you try to centralize all your issues to just one person, because that person then embraces your deadlines, your invoices, your orders, your pro forma payments, your expiring due dates for outstanding invoices. This person knows who you are working with, how many of you there are, who has decision-making power, who orders what, who ordered what the day before yesterday, because you may already, in the chaos of information, forget about it. And it is always nice to have such an external supervisor who will give you a little insight into the work of the service. I highly recommend the girls. I highly recommend Luke. Contact me if you have any questions about the operation of the site. If it's about business conditions, about extending collaboration, I will certainly be happy to help you. I will also choose you a thermostat, of course, but the truth is that the fastest way will always be for you to send inquiries or call these numbers and this email address, which is here. Then you will always be dealt with by the person who simply has the most space, the most time to deal with the matter now. Because we understand perfectly well that in your work, you expect and need information now. We do our best to respond to every inquiry, especially by email, within 15 to 20 minutes. As for phone calls, everyone is always answered and picked up by 5 p.m. You don't have to worry about it completely. And if something would be unclear from what I've said, remember that here, after logging in on the main page, you still have a guide. When you click on that red button, it plays a video. It's as long as 12 minutes. So there's a ton of content in it, and you can always scroll through it to where you need some kind of hint. Everything is explained here. You shouldn't get lost. Especially you who face ordering parts really every day, or several times a day. It should all be clear to you, and as if any questions arise, well, go ahead. Feel free to contact me. I think that's it. That would be it. Thank you. It was a great hour of fun on our new website. I'm glad you participated and look forward to more invitations to future webinars. Already from a slightly more in-depth topic, I hope. Thanks sincerely. Speak soon. See you later.